Loud.
Okay, that's it. So welcome. Thank you for joining tonight. Like we were just talking about, it is 6 on Thursday night, so we appreciate that you're given the time to be here with us tonight. My name is Sarah Brinkman. I'm the Executive Director for Homestart. And what we're going to talk about tonight, the Neighborhood Grants Program, is something that we administrate for the Community Foundation of Northern Illinois. It's been a great partnership for us, and this is one of the most fun things that we do, I'll say. It's a lot of fun to see what all you're working on, what you're passionate about, what you're creating for the people around you. And then for some of you too, what you're leading others to help create and do. So thanks for your time tonight. One little housekeeping thing, two. First one is if you're not speaking, if you could mute yourself just to make sure that we keep the airways clear for the message and instructions we're going to be going through. And then the second thing is, and if you're in on screen, but you also have your phone, make sure you're muting the phone part of who you are, so that we make sure you keep the sound clear. But anyway, the second thing is if you have questions or things you want to ask, please feel free to use the chat. I'm going to be checking that. So James, Janessa, whoever's presenting, if there's a question that would be good to insert, I'll try and step in and let you know that it's there. So if you don't know where chat is, it should be for me, it's at the bottom of the screen. There's a toolbox. Sometimes it doesn't show if my cursor's not down there, but look for that box and maybe even keep it open if you want to, so you can just put your question in when it comes to you. That is all that I have. So I'm going to turn it over to James. And again, I see if you're not muted. I see you. Make sure you mute yourself.
All right. So I need to share my screen. Are we able to see my screen at this point? Yes. Excellent. So what I wanted to do first is just do a little bit of a history of the Neighborhood Grants Program. It's been going on since 1995, so there is some history to it. So in the beginning, and my dogs, by the way, I apologize. I don't know what's going on, but as soon as we hit record, they started barking. So I'll ignore them. So in the beginning, in 1990, there were 15 neighborhood organizations. And in 1990, the Community Foundation got a grant from, it's a $500,000 grant from the Ford MacArthur Foundation to support affordable housing. And some of you that have been working in this area for a while may remember that. But so the Community Foundation began working with the Rockford Neighborhood Redevelopment Corporation, Zion Development, Trinity House, Rockford Area Habitat for Humanity, local banks, and local realtors to found the Affordable Housing Coalition. And during that time period, they awarded $250,000 to those development organizations for projects they were working on. So the direct result of this grant and that partnership and that engagement and work in the neighborhoods was on December 10th, 1991, the Rockford Affordable Housing Coalition being formed officially. And so in 1995, the Community Foundation recognized that there were a lot of neighborhood organizations out there that could do things to improve their community if they just had a few dollars to do some projects and some things. And so they developed the community or the Neighborhood Grants Program at that time in 1995. So, and at that time, it was one of the few programs like that would give grants to non-501c3 organizations, resident groups. And that first year made grants of 22 grants for $24,500. And then began to become, how about that, involved in neighborhood activism. So in 1996, the Neighborhood Grants Program was sort of a catalyst for helping establish the Council of Neighborhood Organizations in a partnership with the city of Rockford. In 1997, they partnered with the League of Women Voters to bring in John McKnight, who is the co-founder of the Acid-Based Community Development Institute at DePaul University. Brought him to Rockford to speak to neighborhood organizations. And if you have heard of asset mapping and that sort of thing, that sort of comes from that school of thought. From 1998 through 2000, the Neighborhood Grants Program partnered, and by the way, you'll hear me say partnered an awful lot in this little brief history, because that was a lot of what happened, and that's exactly what we feel like, neighborhoods and residents are doing whenever they're creating these projects and things. But so the Neighborhood Grants Program, the City of Rockford United Way, and the Council on Neighborhood Organizations partnered to provide leadership training through the Gamaliel Foundation to nearly 300 neighborhood and faith-based leaders during that time. And then other kinds of developments occurred. So in 2005, partnered with the City of Gardens to really support the American Bloom contest entrance that we were involved in, and the fact that we did win the American Bloom competition. So we earmarked $45,000 to go toward things that would support American Bloom. And also in that year, we sort of helped facilitate the development of the neighborhood network that came along, just to provide additional support for neighborhood residents and organizations and networking opportunities. And then in 2006, we partnered with then Rockford Mayor, Larry Morrissey, with the theme Excellence Everywhere, which was his theme at that time. And then in 2010, we partnered with the city and neighborhood network to make additional dollars available to the neighborhoods in addition to what we are already doing. We administered that for them and also provided some dollars too. And then last but certainly not least is the partnership with Homestart that we have here that's obviously going on to this day. And it has absolutely been a boon for the Neighborhood Grants Program, and I feel neighborhood residents for a number of reasons. One is because Homestart had established relationships with neighborhood residents, and that was really helpful to us. They also bring to bear additional funding sources that we wouldn't have had access to or knowledge of. And that stretches the dollars that we have for the Neighborhood Grants Program. And they also continue to provide leadership training for neighborhood residents through NeighborWorks, which is a resource we did not have. And they were able to help take it to 4 counties instead of just Winnebago County, which we were really not set up to be able to do, didn't have the infrastructure to do that. So all of that has really been a great asset to the Neighborhood Grants Program, and we couldn't be happier with the partnership. And this is kind of interesting. I think it sort of comes full circle, the Neighborhood Grants Program does, because in 2013, the Neighborhood Housing Services of Freeport and the Rockford Affordable Housing Coalition, which sort of started this whole Neighborhood Grants Program, you might say, merged to become Homestart. So it's kind of like back where it belongs, so to speak. So returning to its roots, you might say. So that's just kind of a neat little tidbit. But so today, it's been 26 years since we made our first grants. And, there has been, and I don't know how many there are now, but at one time there were 90 neighborhood organizations. And that was, certainly not just because of grant programs, but that certainly supported the development of neighborhood organizations to do different things. And during that time, we have made 478 grants totaling $737,000 and some change. So nearly $750,000 into the hands of neighborhood residents to do things to benefit their community. And just a quick shout out to someone who is synonymous with the Neighborhood Grants Program, and that would be Barb Nelson. If any of you have been working in the area for a while, Barb was just a real advocate for neighborhood organizations and really put her heart and soul into the Neighborhood Grants Program. So a quick shout out to her, good friend of mine and mentor. So with that, I will talk about the portal that we have. So the Community Foundation has a new web application portal. If you've applied for a community, if you've applied for any of our grants in the past, neighborhood grants or otherwise, you would know that we do have a web portal. This is a new one. So everyone will need to create a new login and organization within the portal. And that is unless you applied to the Community Grants Program just this past fall. So anyway, if you take a look here, you can see that the way to get to it is to go to our website at cfnil.org. And you can see I've circled here. You click on the Apply for a Grant. And by the way, these boxes are at the top of every web page. I happen to have it on the Neighborhood Grants webpage because there you can also find the guidelines for the fund and all the specifics as far as that goes. So you do that, and it will take you to the web portal. And once you have an account, you would just log in here. But the first time you do this, you're gonna need to create an account. And I'm gonna encourage you or ask you to, at first, have only one user from your organization create an account, because if two do it, you'll end up creating two records for the same organization. So it'll be a duplicate record. We'll have to merge those. So, but if you would like someone in your neighborhood organization to help you on your grant application, there's something that we call the collaboration tool within the portal that you can invite them to collaborate on that application. And there's instructions in there to help you with that. So I would mention also that the email address is case sensitive when you set that up. So pay attention to that. Not all email addresses for logins are case sensitive. This one is for some reason. In fact, I don't know of any other one that is actually, but just so you know, that doesn't create a bugaboo for you. And then again, every organization, and I would say the sooner the better. Now the grant application is not ready yet, and it won't be ready until the beginning of next month. However, you can certainly go on and create an account for your organization and yourself. And it's probably a good idea to do that. That way you have that taken care of and you don't have to worry about that at the last minute. So I think that's everything on that slide. When you do register, this is what you'll see, creating a new account. And it's really important to get this organizational information correct because the organization information can only be edited by us at the Community Foundation in the back office, so to speak. So it's best if you get it right, and that way you don't have to worry about contacting us to change that for you. But if you complete all this information here, and you can see where there are asterisks next to a field, and that means it's required, which is pretty common, pretty typical. One of the things I do like about this web portal is it does seem to follow a lot of the sort of best practices and sort of intuitive kinds of methods. So, but when you complete this part of it, you would click next. It'll take you to another page that collects more information about you, and it walks you right through it. So I'm not going to go through the whole bit of it. But once you are registered, it will take you to the apply for a grant page. So the apply page, I call it. And here you can do a couple of different things. Well, let me step backward. It's actually not the apply page. It's the applicant dashboard is where you start. And so as you can see in the middle, you have your applicant information and your organization information. And by the way, that is put right into your application once you're registered. You don't have to retype any of that. Which is a nice thing about the application itself. Another quick nice thing that makes it easier is once you've completed an application, you can actually copy that application the following year and then just change whatever's different. So if your program is similar to what it was the year before, you may not need to change that much. But then all of the things that you would normally add, like organizational information, those kinds of things, they probably don't change from year to year. And so that's already there for you. So that's a nice thing about it. You can see the lower red circle for the two tabs for active requests and one for historical requests. That's where you'll see the requests that you currently have active that haven't been acted on. And then historical requests will be those that have already been decided upon. And as you complete more applications, that will it will track all of those for you. So at the top, you see another circle around apply. And if you click that, I was getting ahead of myself, that's the apply page. So this is where you would see whatever grant applications are available to apply to. And at this time, it was the Community Grants Program. You'll see that it'll say the Neighborhood Grants Program here. And when it's actually active and accepting applications, right over here, there will be a button that says apply. And you just click on that, and it will take you into the application. So a really nice thing about this application is that it auto saves. So you don't have to worry about that, which is really nice. It's been a really good feature. which actually I'm surprised that our previous portal did not do that. So very convenient and helpful. And here in the middle, you see this other circle, there are some great instructional tools that are in the portal for you, like applying for funding is a video, actually. Information on how to use the collaborator tool, it's right here. So with that, that's all I have to say. I'm gonna turn it over to Janessa now and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, James. And for anyone that is just joining us, again, my name is Janessa Wilkins, and I am the Resource Development and Community Engagement Manager for Homestart. And I'm going to be going over with you the neighborhood grant, what it is, qualifications, things like that. So we'll go ahead and get started. And the thumbs up, you guys can see my screen. We're good. All right. So the Neighborhood Grant Program 2021.
Don't
Why
see
do
a
we
screen,
have
Janessa.
this? I'm sorry.
We do not see a screen.
You're not seeing the screen because I didn't.
Yeah.
There
we go.
Sorry about that. So the purpose of this grant is meant to encourage and support the work of neighborhood-based groups and organizations trying to preserve and improve the quality of life in your neighborhood. Two, we want to promote resident participation and leadership in neighborhood-based organizations. We're looking to invest in and build on the existing strengths and assets of the region's neighborhoods. And we're wanting to promote civic pride in our community. Okay. So there are 8 qualifications for this particular grant. And the first is you must be a 501c3 tax exempt, not-for-profit agency and or organized group carrying out a charitable purpose for a common good. You must have a minimum of 3 active leaders, like a president, secretary, treasurer, something like that. You must have an established process to manage grant funds, including a current checking account in the name of the organization, okay? You must be operated and organized so that there is no discrimination based on race, color, sex, sexual orientation, religion, age, national or ethnic origin, political beliefs, veteran status, disability, or any other factor prohibited by applicable law, okay? You must be current on all final reports for previously awarded grants from the Neighborhood Grant Program. So if you have received that and you still got some funding left or have not given or turned in your final report, you wouldn't be able to apply until you would be able to get the old information in, or the past information in, I'm sorry. And we don't have that because everyone's up to date. So I'm not worried about that one. Next, you must be a neighborhood or neighborhood-based organization that's located within Boone, Ogle, Stephenson, or Winnebago County, okay? And when you plan to implement a project that will, have a plan to implement a project that will benefit residents of a designed geographic area. And that's really important. We've noticed in the past that we've gotten applications to where people are wanting to do things that are citywide within Winnebago, but it definitely needs to be a specific neighborhood. So that is something that we're looking for in the application. So please be sure of that. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me so we can clarify anything. You must also have the capacity to complete the proposed project by the end of the year. To that, I will add, if your project could be impacted by COVID-19 mitigation requirements, please make sure and make a note of what modifications could be made to ensure that the project will comply with local health department mandates in order to provide a safe experience for any and all participants. And 2, you want to consider what modifications might be appropriate for your project and make note of it within your application. Again, if you have questions on that, you can definitely call me or email me and we can get everything clarified if we need to. If you are applying for a project similar to previously funded projects, you must provide a sustainability plan for future years. We want to definitely get you on track for doing it on your own. So we want to help you definitely get things started, but we don't want to be a crutch for anyone. We want you to be able to do it and complete everything going forward with your organization. So just to give light about some things that we do fund, some examples here is beautification projects, crime prevention, neighborhood cleanups, neighborhood events, newsletters and organizing, community gardens, reforestation projects, neighborhood surveys, and resident-focused education. But there are two that I do want to break down just a little bit further, and one is the beautification projects. Any permanent fixtures like trash receptacles or planters, those must be installed on public property or common areas. And two, any landscape projects must be permanent improvements to the area, okay? And you have to have a maintenance plan like watering or weeding. And then for the reforesting neighborhoods, trees may only be planted on public or common areas. Again, not on any private property, okay? And so for some things that we do not fund with this neighborhood grant is landscaping, again, private property, refreshments for neighborhood meetings, even though I am one for the food, I'm all about the food. You know, it's not something we can do for the neighborhood meetings. Any type of entertainment like these concerts or anything like that, we will not fund, unfortunately. And activities that are primarily benefit non-resident organizations, including nonprofit and for-profit organizations. And then any projects and programs that promote a religion or require participation in a religious activity as a condition for receiving services. Okay, now grants may be made to faith-based organizations for other projects. Okay, so please make note of that. I do want to switch it up a little bit here on how we did it on our first webinar. Do we have Ms. Barb Chitley ready to go here? Now that we did just discuss the things that we do not fund, I do want to introduce Ms. Barb Chitley to you all. We have asked her to join us today as an additional resource. We understand that there are some great ideas for some things to do in the neighborhood, and she is our neighborhood specialist with the city of Rockford. And so with that said, I want to kind of give the mic over to her for a moment so she can introduce herself and let you all know why she's here and how she can be of help to you if you do see something on here, or excuse me, something that we do not fund, but you want to get some additional help for that. So Barb, I'll kick it over to you and then I'll take the mic back from you when you get done.
Thanks, Janessa. You've set it up really well. I think the important thing that I want everybody to know is that I don't think that you should ever give up on an idea or think, no, this isn't something that would be funded, or no, this isn't really something that we can do, or even if it is something that wouldn't be funded, that we can't do it because they're under their funds. The idea is that I am here to help support you in developing your ideas and developing your vision and in figuring out how to make sure it happens. I've got a neighborhood that I've talked to that has an idea for something they think is going to cost more like $25,000. And so this grant would only cover 10% of that if they were able to get some funding. And that's okay, because we have other ways of finding additional money and additional support. You might think, oh, that's great. I would love a crime prevention program for my neighborhood, but you don't even know what that means or what that looks like. Together, we can talk about other best practices. We can talk about different creative ways that would work for you and your neighborhood. So if there's anything that you're questioning, you're unsure about, even if you're just thinking, man, $2,500 would be fantastic. We could do something with that. I just don't know what. I am happy to meet with you, to talk, to brainstorm some things and to figure out how we can make things happen. But of course, I couldn't help without the direct partnership of Homestart and with CFNIL. These people are also incredibly accessible. So I think the thing that I want to emphasize the most is don't even hesitate to reach out. Just if you've got questions or concerns or just some thoughts that you want to go through, we are all here to help.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Barb. And I will have her contact information on the inside if you are interested in and you would like to speak with her. I will kick it back onto our presentation here. We can finish that out and move on to questions at the end. So what we're looking for really are projects that are generated, led and executed by residents of the neighborhood. Projects that build on the assets existing in the neighborhood, including using the skills of residents involving youth or working with an existing neighborhood group. And we definitely are looking for things that are encouraged partnerships, as James and Barb was just stating, between residents, businesses, nonprofits, and institutions within the neighborhood, schools, all of that. That is definitely something that we would love to see and promote while we're doing anything in the community. Some important things to know and some special dates to be on the lookout for is the applications. They'll be accepted beginning March 1st through April 5th. As James said before, you will not be able to access the portal before then. So be sure to log in on the 1st. If you need to check out some questions, maybe go back, get some answers, and say even come back and finish it up, you'll definitely have that time allotted. But I do want to emphasize that no applications will be accepted after the deadline. Okay.
Hey, Janessa, could I add something real quick?
No.
I believe.
No. Yes.
She's a taskmaster, folks. So no, but I do believe that on our website there is a Word version of the application, and it's nearly exactly what the actual application will be. There may be a few slight tweaks, but nothing major, if you just want to get an idea of what kinds of questions are being asked.
Okay. And just from personal experience, let me say, for someone who has seen quite a bit of grants ever since I started working for Homestart, this application is it's compared to others, it's easy. I think it's very self-explanatory. The jargon that's used is not hard or anything like that. But if you do find yourself, kind of stuck or not sure, again, that's when you want to reach out to me and we can talk it over and clarify anything that you might have. Okay. Now the applications, I am still sharing. Okay, now the applications, they have to be submitted through the Community Foundation's online application portal. And as James has stated, there is a new portal and you can apply at this link here, the cfnil.org/grants/neighborhood in order to get started. And like he said, if you have submitted an application for this grant in the past, you will still need to create a new account unless you did apply with them earlier this year or last year. Getting my years mixed up. But just be sure to follow instructions on the portal login page to create your account. And if you need help utilizing the portal or creating your account, any technical issues, Mr. Patterson is your guy. Don't call me because I'm going to tell you to call him. But he's the go-to for anything technical on that. Otherwise, if you want to try and figure it out yourself first and be proactive, you can go to the cfnil.org/grant resources to get some additional help with that, okay? So what's in it for you? Why do this? Well, the maximum amount granted per project, you can get up to $2,500. And as Barb stated, you might need maybe 80,000, let's hope not, but it might be more than the 2,500, but we can fund up to 2,500. If you do need more than that, we do ask on the application that you only apply for the 2,500. Don't put more than that on the application, okay? Something else that could be in it for you is travel is awarded for individuals to attend the Community Leadership Institute, which was a great way for me to meet Mrs. Chitley last year, the year before. But it's a 3-day training event that aims to strengthen the voices and skills of the community, residents, and volunteer leaders. So it's a fun time. It was definitely a life-changing experience for me. And it even was something that sparked me to get on the path that I am now. But if you do have any questions on that or would like more information, you can go to Homestart's website that's listed here, click on Get Involved, and it'll just click on the resident leadership to get more information on that. Okay. But here are some helpful resources. Here's my contact information along with James and Ms. Barb Chitley. These are the phone numbers and emails for all of us. Again, if you've got questions about the applications, questions or anything like that, you want to call me. Anything technical, you want to give James a call. And if you are thinking of something of a project or an event that you're trying to hold off in the city and it doesn't necessarily fit with the neighborhood grant program, definitely reach out to Ms. Barb Chitley. I've been dealing with her like, oh man, for over a year now, but trust me, if that woman can't do it, she gonna find somebody who will. So she will get you what you need. Trust me on that. But I'll leave this up here for a little bit just for anyone that is trying to write that down. But I just want to open it up for questions. I don't know. I know Sarah's been watching the chat. So if you want to anonymously ask a question, you could definitely type it in the chat. For us, we're on here. We see you and we can hear you as well. So if you do have a question and you don't mind speaking up, you can say it as well. Otherwise, like I said, you can type it. So I'll open up the floor.
I don't know if I can.
We can hear you, Nitro.
We can. Okay.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing, Barb? I was just trying to find out. Hush, be quiet. I'm just excited. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get this stuff going on here. I'm sorry. Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I got in real late, so I kind of missed some of this stuff. I'm just jumping in right now, and I'm not saying anything right now, just listening.
You know what, Nitro? They have a recording of this whole presentation that will be made available as well.
Okay.
And I'm happy to go over this stuff with you. You and I are due for a conversation anyway.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So no worries about jumping in late.
Hey. Okay, thank you, Barbara.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but this is nice. Okay.
And Nitro, if once you do watch the presentation, like she said, if you do have questions about the application or any questions on the application, you can definitely give me a call. Barb's got all my contact information. So,
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know we've got some returning applicants on here with us tonight. Does anyone have any questions about the new portal or anything like that? Feel free, like I said, just chime in, let us know. That's why we're here.
We surely could not have done that good of a job of explaining all this.
I have a real quick question.
I have a question.
Yes.
I want to start at just the basics. How would one start a neighborhood group in order to even qualify to even get into the grant thing? But first, I just want to start a neighborhood group. What are the steps that one does to do that?
So I think that what's really most important is to bring people together. And this is one of the things that, and Janessa, Sarah, James, please jump in to add to this. But I know that when they're looking at the grant applications, they're really looking for people coming together to do something together. And so there's an emphasis on that partnership between a variety of residents. So, and then of course, partnership with others as well. But what we're really looking for is a lot of neighbors coming together to create something. So that being said, I think that what's really important in terms of getting a neighborhood group started is reaching out to people and starting to really make those connections and finding a way to bring people together. I think, and I may be wrong about this, but one of the reasons that I would think that there's not funding just for food for neighborhood meetings is because we're still just focusing on a meeting, which is a traditional way of getting things together. Whereas, and I know, when we went to the Community Leadership Institute and the work that we've been doing following up with this, along with Sarah and Janessa, our real emphasis is on getting people connected in a sustainable way. And meetings don't necessarily engage people. I mean, there are some people that like them. But so the idea is find a way to creatively bring people together. once the weather starts getting warmer, it could just be going around and inviting people to your front yard and, ask people to bring a mask and bring a chair or bring a blanket or whatever, and provide some sort of compelling question. You could provide food or something, but just get people together to start getting to know each other and start talking about the neighborhood and talking about their vision and their goals, or what kinds of things you have in common that you want to come together around. So I guess I'm going to push this back over to one of the others though. So what if it's a group that doesn't officially have a neighborhood association yet?
So that's a good question. Oh, sorry, Janessa.
Go for it and I'll add.
Yeah, so one of the unique parts about this grant was been pointed out in a couple different ways, is that you don't have to be a 501c3. So you don't have to be a totally developed organization in that sense, but we do have a minimal threshold for organization. So it's that you have to have 3 officers and that you have to have a checking account. And the reason is, this funding comes through sources, and we have to show and demonstrate that it was used for charitable purposes, that it was used for, the requirements in the grant, and there has to be real documentation. We try and make that not as stringent as possible, and that's why we hold something like a webinar like this. And we offer Barb, we offer Janessa, myself, we offer to help you a lot in answering the questions and getting, past some of the technical, to make sure we don't want this funding to only go to experienced groups. And yet we need the funding at the end of the day we need the group to be able to show they used it for the purpose that the funds were given to the community foundation and the community foundation provided to us to give. So that's why we ask for some organization. So if a group is trying to form and they don't have that, but they want some money to hold some, like an initial event or something to bring people together, what has happened in the past, to give you some ideas and maybe spark you thinking a little bit about what to do, is maybe there's an organization. Loves Park had one last year. I think it was Loves Park. I can't remember the name of their group, but an alderman had an organization that then could help the neighborhood secure the funding so they could do their project. So that alderman worked directly so the organization committed to the administration of the funding, the checking account, etc. But in their application, they listed out what neighbors they would be working with, where the completion of the project would be, what it would do for the neighborhood. And then when they reported back, it was about that neighborhood and what they got done in that area. The neighborhood didn't necessarily have the organization for it yet, but they had a group that came alongside them and said, okay, well, we'll help you get started. So if you're in that situation, Gabrielle, where you're looking at a group, I think the thing to talk to would be with Barb and Janessa and see if there's some sort of, area, an organization close to where you are, or an organization that has the same heart that could help you with maybe helping to get that infrastructure in place. That just makes sure that for our charitable purposes, we've got that tracking. Again, ours is as minimal as you can be to apply for funding, but we still had to have a threshold.
Yeah, and you actually said what I was going to say, Sarah. You hit it dead on the knob. I think Gabby was setting that up to be an alderman question.
It's Clint Little in Loves Park. So he's an alderman there, and he wanted to do some, so he helped them get it done.
Yes.
But you know what, Jessica, I was thinking when you work more with kids, I feel that will bring people together far as unity when everything is based on the kids, I feel like, when people think about the kids, I mean, they really come closer, you know what I mean? Yeah,
it's Nitro, that would be a method of bringing people together, is if you do youth event or activity.
Yeah, and there would be more so sound kids, because I think people come together when it's based on kids, and so it grows from that point. just by with the neighbors, go walk your dog, you know, or knock on the door and see if they want to go walking with you. You know, you have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas too. I haven't had time to write them down yet, but yeah, it's about coming together. And Barb, I know what you're saying. I talked to my neighbor across the street. I just haven't had time to go there and make the video, but she is just so excited and she wanted to know how she can get on board. So what I did was I told her I would send her the website and go talk to her a little more about it. But she's excited. Her name is Jessica, and me and Jessica talks a lot. So I'm looking forward when it warm up for me to get out there and start spreading love.
Yeah. You and the rest of the population. Seems I think we're all ready to get out of the house.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, to answer Gabby's question, if you are trying to get that established, I feel like the best person to reach out to would be your alderman, because they do have direct communication and contact with all of their neighborhood associations that are established. And again, that would just promote, you know, you guys working together, or even just working with your alderman to get it working. And then, you know, applying for funds, maybe if you're needing to help with, you know, supplies like the paper, printers, you know, to get the word out about you trying to start that neighborhood association, that would definitely be something that would be worth submitting an application for. So.
Okay.
James, you want to go to the question from the chat?
Sure. Yeah, happy to. So the question is, so if you, well, let me look at the question again. So it's asked, if you have an existing login password with the web portal, will we need to create a new one with the new system? So the answer is that if you had a login and a password with the old portal, then yes, you do need to create a new account with the new portal. However, the difference would be is if you applied this past fall for community grants, and some of you have, I believe, then you already have an account on the new portal. So does that make sense?
And I have shared my screen again. I noticed Barb had put her contact information in the chat. I put it up here as well, just in case someone or someone does need that. Any of our contact information, if you're just hopping on or anything. Again, if you have questions about the application, you want to contact me. Any technical issues, it'd be Mr. Patterson. And then anything outside of what the neighborhood grant would allow, we definitely want you to reach out to Ms. Barb Chitley, our neighborhood specialist. So I'll leave this up, but definitely feel free to keep asking questions. I just want to give people a chance to see that information there for a few more moments.
And if for some reason you don't know whether you've got an account or your neighborhood organization has an account, you can call me or email me, and I'm happy to check too. So that certainly we can do that as well.
You know, I return to something you said, Janessa, about people needing even just flyers or something to distribute. That is something that I can help you with. And if it's a lot and it's not something I can just print off and provide to you because it exceeds my limit, we can get creative ways of getting those donated as well too. So I don't want anybody to think that you have to wait for money from this grant or another grant to be able to get something started. We can come up with all kinds of creative ways to get things moving.
Thanks for letting them know, Barb. Anyone else got any other questions? All right. I feel like I should be just have some music playing now to get us off with a nice outro then, you know? Thank you.
Looks like we do have one.
Yeah,
Mr. De La
something has popped
Rosa.
up here. I'll read it and somebody can answer it. So would it be possible to promote or advertise past events that this grant has supported in different neighborhoods? This may influence neighbors to come together and build an official association due to seeing and having a vision. That's great. And actually, yes, you to some extent you can. We have the neighborhood grants report from last year. It's on our webpage. And you can see a number of different projects that were done last year. And I'm not positive about this, but we've been doing those reports each year for a while. So I would imagine there is a link to get to some of those others as well. And yeah, but you're right. That would give you some great ideas or sort of start your thinking, jumpstart it.
Right. Thank you.
And you know
Absolutely.
what, Mike? I'll get with, I know, Sarah, I know you've got that stuff too, because I know it's been out on your website. Why don't we work on putting together a comprehensive list for maybe the last 3 years? And I can get that sent out to all the neighborhood leaders.
Sounds good. Thanks.
See, you wonder what she brings to the table right there. Just a great example.
Do you guys feel like there's one bank that partners well with this organization compared to others?
So you mean like would match funding for this type of grant? Is that what?
Right. Yeah, something like that, or that you guys have a good partnership with.
I know that in the past, Chase used to be good about setting up accounts for neighborhood organizations. Whether that's still happening, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't want to specifically say anything either. It varies. I would say it really depends on the project that you have and maybe what the goal is of the bank, that year. It changes so often, but we've worked with many banks in the past, and they've all been great, so I would just always ask. They're always looking for ways to get involved. I'd hate to put out one and not say them all, because like I said, we've worked with so many. But yeah, I would reach out and just kind of ask them, what their goals are as the bank institution for that year. And, you might be right in the line with what they're trying to hit for that. So.
Just to clarify, were you saying like banks to also donate to your project or to be?
Yeah, to donate to your project and to, something that you guys, a bank that you have actually worked with has a good format and kind of has some experience with grants and such. So.
Yeah.
Sure.
Miguel, if you can send me your contact information, I'd like to speak with you one-on-one and maybe see if I can be some help with you on that.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Okay.
Which is a really great idea. And that's another thing that I'll bring up too is if you are working to secure other donations to go alongside the project, something that we have done in the past for some neighborhood associations when they were successful at doing that, but that other donor needed a 501c3, we have been the fiscal agent for them so that the bank could technically grant it to us, but we just turned it back to the neighborhood association. So that helped then that there's a real simple process that we've developed for that to do a memorandum of understanding so that, we know that you're going to continue to use it for the project, but that it helps expand your capacity a little bit if you're looking to grow this project a little more. That way, we're just getting your leadership and your whatever that next level. We can definitely talk about that too if you're seeking that kind of thing, but not a 501c3 yet.
Okay. Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Well, sorry for the dead air, but we don't want to jump away too quickly while somebody's formulating a question. So.
Well, while you're thinking, I'm sure you're all wondering it right here. It's a character of all the most famous people to play Sherlock Holmes in TV and movies.
Where does one find something like that?
Comic-Con. And there you just heard a whole lot about me you didn't know, but there you go. That's my obsession right there. I have a floor plan of 221B behind me, Baker Street. So in case you've probably been wondering this whole time.
Yeah.
What the picture is.
I have a question. I have a question. Now, can you have like a fundraiser too? Can you have a fundraiser somewhere too to support your project?
Definitely, but the more resources you bring in with it, that can only help you.
Okay, okay, yeah, because I met a lot of business owners and stuff, and then I was just wondering, can they support your project just as well?
Definitely, we encourage partnerships. That's what this is all about, is the engagement of it all. To bring that engagement together and making your communities better.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
You can't have too many partners.
Oh, okay,
we'll
good.
never say that. You've got too many people.
I think I've been collecting them just with a smile on my face and, just with a good personality. So that's definitely what I'm planning on doing. Just kind of get some of the business around here to kind of help out to your locals. And that's another thing too. You support your locals, they're going to support the community also. So that's a good thing. But I do, every time I go into a business, I kind of make good, partnership with them. And maybe one day I'll help out with the fundraising.
So would it be fair to say that if someone were also raising funds in additional ways and partnering with other people to help support their activities, that would make them look better, like they're really serious about doing this? I see nodding.
Yeah, and that's why I look at it too. You got some. What did I went to Mark's Mechanic. I talked to one of the workers there, and they were saying that they would love to sponsor something for a fundraiser. So I got them on my checklist. Because everywhere I go,
awesome.
I do. I kind of, all they can do is tell me yes or no. That's what I go with. And I keep trying just the locals. So I'm starting off pretty good, I guess.
I think you're starting off awesome, Nitro.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
What I'd say about collaborations and partnerships is, yes, they definitely, it is good to see that how they're working with the organizations around, that they're aware of their neighborhood, they're aware of what's going on around. There's a lot of that's really positive about having partnerships. The trick with the funding partnerships, though, is when you're applying for this, you want to have already talked to them too, and maybe have pledges or some sort of noted commitment, because if your project takes $10,000 and you're pretty sure you can get the other $7,500, so please give me your money first, that has a different tone to it. $10,000, we've got $5,000 committed. Here's who we've approached for the remaining money.
Yeah.
We'll still be able to do significant work, even if we only get to the 7,500 with yours. Do you hear the difference in what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We require this project to get done in 2021. So if you're so you do want to be ahead of some of that. If you're going to be coupling other sources with it, our committee would be looking to see how committed those sources are and if it's really feasible.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Thank you.
Well, it is 7.
All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any other questions coming in. Sorry, Sarah. I think we're on the same wave path there on the brainer. But again, if you guys do have questions, contact us. We will be posting this onto our social media now that we've got a full recording here. So definitely check us out on our Facebook page, NW Homestart. I know James will probably post it on theirs for the Community Foundation. Again, if you guys got questions, definitely give us a call. We can help you out the best we can and help you guys be successful. But thank you for taking the time out to come to this meeting/webinar here tonight with us. And you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe, be warm.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, you too. Good night. All right, Barb.